Friends, we have with us Mr. Sandeep Bekal. So let us understand more about Mr. Sandeep Bekal, his business and his business model. I cannot allow you to replicate the business model, but we'll try to understand what is his business model. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir, can you tell us more about your background, how you were born and brought up in Delhi, and how you shifted once in your base to Karnataka?
Sure. So thank you for a nice welcome to the show. I'd just like to go back to my formative years. As you rightly said, I was brought up in Delhi. My father was in government service, so in the central government service. So that's the reason he was posted in Delhi. And so all my education and everything was in Delhi. Though we belong to Mangalore. Bekal is a surname. Bekal Fort is very famous, as you know. So while being brought up in Delhi, I completed my MBA in particularly specializing in advertising and marketing. And then I worked for a few good companies like ITC and all that. Typically what happens in the beginning of the formative years, one tries to see what one is good at. It is still by trial and error one comes to know and what we are good at and what we really want to do. So when I was working, I was always thinking that I must do something of my own. I want to be a master of my own destiny. Not for money, but I just wanted to get a feel that I am my own boss. So that I felt that I was good creatively. I had a lot of good ideas. So my thought was, why should I be working lifelong in a typical 9-to-5 job for somebody else? So that was the trigger or the motivator with which I started my own company. Background is like this, that my father, originally hailing from Bekal, Mangalore, went to Delhi. He was in the government service, so all my education and everything. So a lot of inputs from Delhi culture. So I learned Delhi taught me to be rough and tough in difficult situations. So in every place you learn certain good qualities from every place. People have some good qualities which we should observe.
After your education, management education, did you work for someone or directly got into the entrepreneurship?
Yes. So after I did my MBA, I worked for a very brief time in teaching first. Actually, I started in teaching. I joined as a management trainee in a computer education at that time was a very big thing. And so first as a management trainee, we were posted in Don Bosco, Guwahati. I taught there for about 1 year. Then I rose slowly in the company to head the company. So we were the ones who brought computer education and computer revolution in the entire Northeast. Don Bosco School was the first school to take up computer education in a school. Since that model was successful, a lot of other schools followed. So that was my first foray, teaching. And that's where I learned my communication and a lot of things I learned from the students, vice versa. Then when I came back, then since I was in computer education, I joined Apple Industries, who were doing well. NIT and Apple were the two. Aptech, yes, Aptech, you're right. So after a brief stint, I was still trying to understand what I'm good at, because I was not good at programming. Computer education, how long will I be in the teaching? So like any individual, one is trying to find one's then I realized that I'm good at organizing a lot of things. Then immediately after that, I also got a break in a company in ITC, in the food division. I wanted to join ITC because I wanted to see the rough and tough of marketing. I wanted to go actually on the field like a warrior or like a soldier and understand how the market psychology functions, because that's what we were taught in MBA. What we are taught and what is practical, I wanted to relate that. So I joined ITC, and in IT, what happened? I learned a lot of things there about marketing. The shopkeepers, whoever, whether you are a top boss of ITC or whether, they don't give a damn. They are very practical, hard-nosed guys. So how to ensure that the shopkeepers keep your products, how to ensure that the product sells, how to ensure that the product visibility is there. So a lot of interesting things, and I had very good bosses, all from IIMs and IITs, and they very wise guys and very practical oriented guys. So those formative years, those marketing techniques and all that, I learned from the ITC experience. Then immediately after that, I said, that's it. So now I want to do a little breakaway into a field which I think I don't want to be in a consumer product line for too long. So that's where I joined a company called Visitex Foundation in 1994, which was into exhibition org. In Delhi, exhibition is a very big industry, mainly thriving because of Pragati Maidan. So when I got this break, I was heading the Delhi office, and I did an exhibition on instrumentation and technology, which is more to do with your engineering and all that. Instantly, I knew, my heart knew that this is what I like. You see, sometimes it's just that one flicker of a moment when you know that this is what, your sixth sense is, this is what you've been waiting for. So I knew exhibition industry is the one that I love. Because here, you don't have to go door to door selling your product like a shopkeeper, you know, and trying to, you know, here you meet all the top decision makers of a company. An exhibition decision is always taken by the top, either the CEO or the chairman. So the selling environment was in a very dignified, like how we are talking to each other. The other guy listens to you. Whether he takes it or rejects it, it's a different matter, but at least he respects you. You get an entry, you're talking to an individual who is well versed. So those are the things initially which attracted me, you know. And then I was naturally good at organizing. So exhibition means bringing buyers and sellers together. So that's where, since your question was, what was your initial background, how did you get into all this? So this is how I'm trying to track how one led to another. Finally, I got an industry or a profession which I liked. That is very important. What is close to your heart? So I knew instantly that exhibition industry is for me. So I'd like to leave it at that.
The business environment is different in different states. Can you just give us a comparative study of how is it in Karnataka, how is it in Kerala, how is it in Tamil Nadu and in Delhi? How do you actually compare the environments for exhibitions?
For exhibitions, because otherwise typically the consumer environments for jewelry is, differs, depends on the taste and things like that. But organizing exhibitions, particularly jewelry, since jewelry is what I specialize in, it's different for different places. For example, Bangalore is a very cosmopolitan city. Okay, I was very fortunate that when I did my first show in 1999, there were no jewelry exhibitions happening in South, and I organized the show in Bangalore where people are open to new ideas and new things. They were willing to buy jewelry from an exhibition. Typically, South Indians, you know, they have a very closed, reserved mindset. Jewelry being a luxury item, they wouldn't like to buy jewelry from a new jeweler. So, in the first place, organizing a jewelry exhibition itself was a challenge. So, coming to you, how the different environments. So, what I'm trying to say, the Bangalore mindset is that I first tackle this question from the consumer angle, then how, as an organizer, I face the challenge. So from the one good example that I can give you is in Bangalore, the jewelry exhibitions had a good chance of clicking because the consumer mindset is open. The women are open to buy from an exhibition because they have an open mindset. But the same exhibition, to be very honest, we tried in Chennai and we failed. Let us see, success comes from sometimes by failures, but you have to learn from your failures. I took my success in Bangalore granted and I organized a similar show in Chennai, but I did not get such a good response. For maybe so many factors, the venue was wrong, or maybe we couldn't advertise, but at the same time I could realize and sense that women in Chennai, although they are big buyers, but they were reluctant to buy jewelry from an exhibition. They would still trust their regular jewelers. So that makes one has to have the maturity, understanding to read the market. Simply getting carried away by one show here is not the right. So I would like to give you other examples. In a marketing foray, what happens is typically one may be a king in one's own kingdom. But the moment you should not take that success for granted in other markets is what you need to rework that market. You got to do your homeworks and then attempt. I don't want to take some brand names. So some brands may be very famous in Chennai, for example. They are the kings out there. People all over India know them. But the moment they stepped in Bangalore, their success cannot be taken. When the jewelers themselves open new showrooms, they may not get the same success what they got in Chennai. It takes time to build a brand, an identity, a new identity, or to break the existing monopoly of somebody else in a new market. So that is from the perspective, those are the challenges from the perspective of consumer interact per se. But when you come to my own challenges, there are challenges like opposition from the trade. You see, again, the Bangalore Trade Association was very open and welcome. They didn't see me as a threat. Okay, and I was fortunate that I was able to involve the local jewelers to participate, and today the biggest beneficiaries of my exhibitions are not only the outside outstation jewelers, but it's the local jewelers, because people still prefer to buy the high value jewelry, or majority of the jewelry. Today the biggest stall, the biggest space is taken by my local jeweler. Although initially I had very tough time to convince them, because the local jewelers say, I already have a showroom, why should I participate in an exhibit? So those were my initial challenges. But today I'm very happy to say the biggest business. But when I did similar show in Chennai, or when I attempted something like that in Kerala, there was opposition from the trade itself. By that time, of course, we already were a fairly big name, and they knew that we might be a threat to their existing businesses. So it was a challenge and this thing, and in Kerala we couldn't take off for whatever reason. The trade did not allow, because they have a different system, different government. And I, to be very honestly, feel the consumer is a loser in that situation. You may say you are protecting your markets, but the same Kerala jewelers are also coming to Karnataka, and we welcome them. We don't stop them. So those, I don't want to sound complaining, but these are the actual challenges that one faces once when we go out. And these are the challenges that one has to take it and maybe overcome them.
Coming back to Jewels of India, as a brand, how did you come up with that name, Jewels of India? Was it that first shot you got that?
Good question.
Name?
Nobody has asked me this question. I'm happy that you asked me. It brings back very nostalgic. Myself and another gentleman were just sitting, and we knew we wanted to do a jewelry show. We wanted to get a very catchy name. I've been seeing everybody writing Jewelry Asia, Jewelry World. Somehow all that didn't synchronize well. So I was just trying to think, what is it that I'm trying to do through this exhibition? And then I defined what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is, here is already a jewelry market which is one of the best in the world. We as South Indians consume the maximum gold in the world. And I am trying to entice this jewelry market by getting some of the best jewelers and the best jewelry from all over India under a single roof. And just before the marriage and the festival season, when the jewelry buying is at its peak. So if that is my USP, and if I want to be a long-term player, I need a name which automatically is synonymous in the eyes with what I'm trying to do. Women should be able to relate instantly with that name. What am I trying to do? So jewels, we came out with so many options, but I was going through some books. Sometimes, it's not that we are perfect, you need to do some references. So I opened a book on jewelry exhibitions. I'm being very honest to say, I opened an exhibition book where we have different exhibitions listing of different exhibitions from all over the world. So when I went to the jewelry sections, there were all kinds of names. Then Jewels of Arabia is what I saw. So it's not that it is my original. Then I knew, why not Jewels of India?
Yeah.
So sometimes every idea need not be an original idea.
Yeah.
Whether it is Bollywood, whether you take up any industry, why do you need to reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
If the success, you've seen a certain success, and if you can replicate that success. So here it was a question of the name. That is Jewels of India. I rhymed well, and I knew this is what we want to convey. And it really clicked big time. I'm very proud to say today Jewels of India is a registered brand with a trademark authority. It's not easy to get a trademark for an individual brand, but we are not a very big corporate company. But still, because our brand, and it's such a generic name, Jewels of India is such a generalized, it's not easy for you to convince the trademark itself to give you a trademark patent.
Yeah.
But today, I'm very proud to say, because of our efforts, Jewels of India is a very well recognized brand in the jewelry exhibition industry.
Now, recently many developments have taken place in the policy side of it.
Perfect.
Right from the demonetization
Yes.
to the KYC norms, like the jewelers have to
Yes.
take the PAN
I'm
card.
happy again that you are updated with all that.
So how is that? How will be the
Yes.
impact of that in your business or on your business?
See, over the years we have faced a lot of challenges, all kinds of, every year there is some apprehensions that maybe, gold always has been in the target list of the government because it's a drain on foreign exchange. Let's face it. Because Indians love jewelry, Indian women love jewelry, we are the highest importers of gold, and that, which means the foreign exchange, we pay in dollars. And that negatively impacts our balance as far as the government. It is a strain on them because it's a luxury item. It's not a necessity. The government views it as that.
Yeah, we can call it the goods of snob appeal.
Snob appeal, luxury.
But we Indians see it as an investment.
Yes, we see it as an investment. See, that's where I differ. Debates can go on. If I was sitting, I would love to debate with the government. But definitely, government has its view. Government views it as a luxury item. It's a drain on them because the foreign exchange goes out. But as you rightly said, if I was to argue from the women's perspective, no, it's an investment. It is something they are invest. In India, the gold is, as you rightly said, bought not just unlike abroad. Abroad, jewelry, smaller pieces go well. It is for daily wear. But in India, why you see women buying so? One, of course, is an appeal. It's in our tradition. But another thing is, the biggest reason why they buy is it's an investment for the future. It's a safeguard for the woman. Because you're marrying off your daughter to somebody in a new family, you would like her to carry some gold in case of any. Similarly, a farmer, whatever is his savings, invests in gold per se. So, government of course has been targeting, and not only the recent norms, even the previous government had hiked the customs duty itself from 2%, 4% to 10% straight away to stop the import of, and there were other restrictions also that you have to re-export and all that. Virtually, even at that time, 4-5 years itself, also the industry faced a very tough time with these kind of import restrictions in place. And after the new government came in, slightly it was eased out. But now the challenge that is being faced, and it's a very big worry for the jewelry industry, is it's no longer a secret that the so-called black money, the so-called money which is not being shown for tax. That money goes into two channels. One is the people buy with hard cash, which is the unaccounted money, let's say. That goes into property or buying gold or jewelry. Gold per se, not even diamonds. And the jewelry industry was a very big beneficiary of that thing. But now with this norm of above 2 lakhs, know your customers, you take the PAN card on one side, and other such restrictions in place, the jewelers per se are very worried that they may be losing out on those investments. Only when the customer really needs the jewelry, he will come. Which is what the government wants actually.
Yeah.
That is, the whole policy making is such a way cleverly done that they done so that the gold actually, the demand goes down. But we all have to know, no expert can today predict what is going to, nobody can claim to be an expert. Because today the jewelry is so much ingrained in the women of India that any kind of rule so far has not worked. The demand has only gone up. So we are also praying and hoping that the new restrictions in place may be in the long run good for all of us. If everybody starts buying jewelry with their accounted income, it is good in the long. In short term, all these problems may happen, but we feel in the long term, for the jewelry industry or for the real estate or for anybody, it is good.
See, now with the making charge usually goes from the 12% to the 25% range. Do you see that it might come down because of these events?
Yeah, yeah. See, what happens in our exhibition, because there are so many jewelers participating, there's a lot of competition among themselves. When there is competition, two ways to impress the customer. Either you have something very different and unique and you price it well, or you just undercut your competition by giving better prices. In gold, there is nothing called really discount, because the gold price, the basic price is there. The only place where you rightly pointed out is the making charges. Making charges can be reduced, or where he can from his vendor get it reduced. So yes, in our exhibition sometimes always the customer is the king. On one side he is getting such a wide variety. On another side there are some good offers like this, making charges off and all that. So I would still say exhibition perhaps is one of the best place for the consumer to buy jewelry, as long as the organizer gets some of the best jewelers.
Coming to the branding side of your business, so of late we have seen many film actors and might be the famous models being brought in. How does it work actually?
Yeah, that is one of the innovation. That was just a spark of an idea that came to me. I realized that I started my exhibition Jewels of India in 1999, but it was in 2004 that I hit upon this idea of a model, a celebrity model, to endorse my exhibition. Why that thinking came? Let me give you two examples. One prime example is Coca-Cola. I don't want to. Coca-Cola, everybody knows the taste. But in those years, when my formative years, I used to see Coca-Cola advertising in a big way and endorsing cricket and all that. As you might remember, there was a war between Pepsi and Coca-Cola.
Nothing official about it.
Yeah. All those were great campaigns. But if you remember that very clearly, they came into more prominence because Coke, as such, they can't talk too much on the product side, because the taste everybody has tasted. How do they make it every time relevant? Is they just get one of the current celebrities to endorse it. They pay good money, and anywhere in the world, it is not only in India. Human psychology is like that. Our cultural bringing is like that we are easily able to relate to our local celebrity. An Indian would love to see a Tendulkar, or a foreigner would love to see his Shane Warne or whatever. So I knew from the Coke example, and I also saw that in jewelry industry, nobody was using a celebrity, which was very surprising. Everybody was trying to show that my jewelry piece is the best. I said no. From a woman's perspective, only when a beautiful jewelry is worn by a beautiful woman or a well-known woman, it adds credibility to the whole piece and the whole exhibition. So that was my defining movement for the brand. I want that to sink in. See, sometimes one decision, we take so many decisions in life, but that one key decision makes or breaks. So this is my making decision. That means nobody else was doing it anywhere in India. I'm the first one to bring in the concept of a brand ambassador to endorse an exhibition. In the exhibition per se itself, exhibition industry. So I'm the pioneer when not even a jeweler was getting a celebrity. So my first trial was a local actress, Madhuri Bhattacharya. She's still in the Bollywood side. That trial was, at that time, the flex industry was not even printing in the holdings. And also, but still we painted her picture and got it. That campaign was a hit. Then I knew we are on to. Then I got Kamala Hassan's wife, first wife, Mani Ganpati ji. She's based in Bangalore. She gave us a lot of good inputs. Even that campaign got noticed. Then we got the big break. That time Deepika Padukone was just an upcoming model. She had already done her Limca campaign and she was being noticed all over. And I saw my opportunity, she being a Bangalorean girl and her parents being based in Bangalore. So fortunately through some link we were able to contact her, and instantly she was gracious enough to accept it. And she added a very big value add to our whole campaign. People already knew who is Deepika Padukone. She had already got the first break with Shah Rukh Khan. That was not, the break was in her hands. She had not done the movie yet. So she was fairly prominent. Huh?
First film was in Kannada, I feel.
First was Kannada. So that as well as the first Hindi break was in her hands.
Okay.
So those were her early days.
So even Kannadigas.
So I was fortunate to get her at a good price, and our campaign got noticed. So I knew that the brand and the ambassador concept is working big time. Because otherwise every year I can say the best of jewelers are coming, but how to, sometimes it is important that people immediately say, I can give you another example. When Hyundai launched its first small car in Santro, way back in 1999, have also done exhibitions on automobiles, and I did Auto Asia in Bangalore. So that was the time when Santro was launched. Why people relay, and Santro was a big success at that time because Shah Rukh Khan endorsed it. So there is a very big connect. So celebrity endorsements will keep on happening, but I take the credit of bringing celebrity endorsement to the jewelry industry and to the exhibition industry. And that has worked well. And I've been fortunate, I've got very good brand ambassadors like Jayaprada ji and Bhagyashri, then recently Priya Mani and Pranita Subhash, who is just very, Lakshmi Gopal Swami. But it's not that I have just got only Bollywood. Now I have taken Reela Hota ji, who is a very well-known dancer. I have another brand called Jewels Exotica, where it is aimed only for the upmarket segment, premium. So their celebrity or no celebrity does not matter. The sophisticated look, and how well it has been showcased, that matters. And since I felt she's very good looking, and she has been able to portray in both the traditional and a very sophisticated manner, so I know that it will work well.
So do you think the brand ambassadors and the brand grow together?
Wonderful, yes. Yes, it's a very important, one of the very important, you see, there are now many jewelry. See, in any field when you succeed, there are other imitators. So again, as you rightly said, how am I different? Still the others have not been able to get celebrities. They may just use another model which doesn't get noticed. But I have been, with my resources, with my goodwill, able to get a series of brand ambassadors which my consumers are able to relate. It's very important also to choose the right brand ambassador. Coming to the next question, is choose the right brand ambassador with whom people will be able to relate. You just cannot pick up any person and just make a brand ambassador out of them. So yes, to answer your question, yes, I think the brand ambassador and the brand have grown together.
If you go to the warfare side of it, preemptive strikes are a big one.
No.
So how do you preempt your potential competitors?
Yeah. See, what has happened in my case, since I am the early starter. I started this exhibition when nobody else was doing it. So I've been fortunate that one way I have preempted competition is I had an early start when nobody else was doing. So I already gained recognition. When we reached the top, obviously there were imitators, there were other jewelry shows that started happening. But again, I'm very happy to tell you today that we are rated today now India's #1 jewelry. Jewels of India is rated as India's #1 jewelry exhibition. Not we, but the trade says that, because we get the maximum number of jewelers to participate and we get the maximum consumers and sales taking place. And most of my participants are repeat customers.
Recently there was a statement by Jack Ma, the Alibaba fame CEO. He said 30, 30, 30. So we'll have to concentrate more on the people who are of the age 30. We'll have to concentrate more on the people, on the companies which have less than 30 members. And we will have to concentrate more on the next 30 years. So with this background, now our population would be in their 26 to 30 range. So I think the tastes also keep changing. So how will the Indian jeweler be able to please those people who are in the age between 26 to 30?
What I have understood from my exhibitions is today my biggest buyers are still women about 35 to 40. And that is the reason I don't spend too much time attracting a younger. I'm being very honest and blunt. There is no diplomacy in that. Because this is what I have learnt. When my jewelers and jewelry want still the traditional women. Today our biggest women are still the elderly women, the traditional mindset. They are the ones who are buying big jewelry. And they are the ones who have the income.
Money.
Although the younger generation may have income, but the younger generation clearly now, there is a shift. As somebody rightly pointed out, the younger generation Indian women are no longer going as per their mother's taste and all that. They are now aping the West. They are going in for lesser, smaller pieces or diamonds. So we are in a transition phase, yes. But the younger generation does not fall into our buying category because simply they don't buy good amount of jewelry. So I am still targeting the 35, 40, and that's the reason lot of our brand ambassadors that you will see are a little of that age. So once again to clearly say, even the jewelers, although they are targeting the youngsters, but the volume and the total the value is very less. In a sale of, if a jeweler does 100 crores worth of jewelry sales in a year, only 10 crores, 15 crores they can identify maybe with the younger generation or with the men's jewelry. The rest 85% of the pie comes from 35, 40 plus.
So a girl of 30, when she is 35, she will be your customer.
Yes, I would say that. And with the influence of a mother and so that's the reason I said, coming back again to the choice of the brand ambassador. If the person is too young and it is only the younger generation which identifies with the celebrity, then also it's a little danger for me. Because then I'm missing out on the real buy. So I have to always, perfection comes from, another thing that I wanted to tell you. I am driven by perfection. Money is the byproduct. Lot of entrepreneurs, for them, money is important, no doubt. They wouldn't like to, perfection for them may or may not happen. In my case, it's the other way around. Whatever I take up, I like to perfect that. And I see the other things as a byproduct. Perfection comes how? By understanding what you're doing and then getting into detailing. And also learning from your failures. Failures will come, but don't stop at those failures. Learn from those failures and get a solution for that. And then you see how beautifully the gadi will move.